Welcome to Gimmicks, a podcast about the high-concept, experimental, structure-breaking gimmick episodes of TV. From musicals to bottle episodes to a 100th episode Q&A.
Yeah.
I'm David Arnold.
I'm Derek B. Gale.
Oh, Derek, we made it past 100. I actually counted. Will be our 122nd episode.
Yeah, when you count, I mean, that's always the funny thing about podcast stuff is that, like, whatever you're numbered, unless you are really genuinely, you stick to your numbered episodes are just your episodes. But like most podcasts have bonuses and little extra things and weird little stuff that happens. Like, yeah, it's with Walloping Web Snappers. Like, I know we technically have celebrated 100, 200, 300.
Right.
But like, we're like maybe twice that. And then it's like
Right, because the
and
Patreon,
then like Patreon episodes.
There's all these other dumps. Yeah.
Like that. I mean, the Patreon has, I think, surpassed 100 a while ago. You know,
wow.
And so it's just like it's always weird. But official full episodes with like full show notes and counted as a regular episode, it's been 100 of them. Yes.
Exactly. And so we wanted to celebrate by doing a Q&A. We haven't done a Q&A for Gimmicks in 3 years. And so I was really excited to put this out to the world and get some questions from listeners.
Yeah. It's it's just a nice way to just chill out and engage with people. Cause you know, we also like, I think because we record so far ahead often, like we don't always get a chance to respond to like listener comments on the podcast. Like if you like, you know, reply to us on social media, we will do it there. But like on the podcast, there's not really like a listener mail segment or whatever, just because how we schedule things. So it's a nice way to actually like talk to people or respond to people like here, which is cool. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. And thank you so much to everyone who wrote in and asked us these great questions. We're really excited. So I think let's just dive right in, Derek.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. So we've got a handful of questions people asked about podcast production specifically, or about the making of Gimmicks podcast, or questions about the podcast itself. So I'm going to start with those, because we have a bunch of those. So Russ with Kaiju Comic Cast, one of our friends, said, first of all, congratulations. I think this is one of the most inventive and informative podcasts of all time, and you guys rule, which is really, really nice. Thank you so much, Russ.
Thank you, Russ.
Such a sweetheart. And so supportive of all the stuff that we do. I really, really appreciate it. And he asked a couple of really good questions too, all about podcast production stuff, like I said. So the first one, are there any episodes that were left on the cutting room floor, not necessarily recorded and canned, but maybe left at the conceptual stage? The first one that I can think of is there is one early on before you were on the podcast, David, that I had where it was I don't want to say too much because I imagine we might end up doing it, and I also don't want to like feel like I'm putting the guest who was involved on the spot or anything, because it wasn't anything that they did wrong either. But there was a episode planned on a Simpsons episode, and it was like to the point that it was scheduled. I did all of the notes and research for it and was ready to go, but the guest got sick and couldn't do it. And normally when something like that happens, it's just like, okay, you can just like reschedule. But it was during a period of time, I don't remember exactly like if it was during I think it was like maybe towards the end of it would have been towards the end of my first season run. And I was so burnt out by that point that like, I was just like, okay, that's cool. Let's just do this another time. Like, well, it's not even rescheduled right now because I need to go on a break anyway. I think there was one, I think I had scheduled the Mythic Quest, not scheduled, but I think I had planned to do the one with you, David, the Mythic Quest one. And ended up just being like, hey, can we just hold off on this for like many months? Because I need a break. I'm so burnt out on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what ended up happening with that one was that when I was ready to come back, I was like, I kind of need to start coming back with people that I'm familiar with to get me back into the group. Cause I took a break for like 8 months or something, I think. And I really want to get done. So then I decided to do a different Simpsons episode with Tommy, because Tommy obviously is one of my best friends. Well, and one of my best friends too. So it was like an easy thing to just be like, hey, can you just do this with me? And I know it will be good if we do one together. And he was the first person that I recorded the first episode of Gimmicks with as well. So it was like, it felt right to just sort of relaunch Gimmicks essentially after being on break for a very long time and sort of rebuilding my own confidence and stuff in it with him. But that also meant where it's like, well, we're doing a Simpsons episode now, so we're going to hold off on that other Simpsons episode, for a while, probably
Right.
then, to have a break. And then I got burnt out again, like 10 weeks into doing that second season. And that's when David came on and literally saved the podcast from just crashing and burning completely.
Save the podcast. Ruin the podcast.
But obviously then by that point, things have changed. So that episode has still just been on hold, and I have old notes from like 3-4 years ago now that are just sitting there. And I'm sure I could get that guest back on whenever he wants, I imagine. So I feel like the next Simpsons episode we do should be that one to make that happen.
That's incredible. I guess that's funny because I do know that I've seen those notes, and I think I just like created the episode in my mind and was like, okay, fine, let's keep going.
Hasn't happened.
Because every once in a while I'll search for something in our shared drive and just old show notes will pop up and I'm like, oh great, maybe the research was already done. And typically it's just like a keyword that is just common across so many things.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, like some creator's name will show up and I was like, oh my God, Derek already did the research on this. This is great.
Yeah. But
Otherwise, I can't think of anything else that we every once in a while we'll break a season and then Derek and I will realize that we are covering like 6 bottle episodes in a row. And it's not that we like axe them, which we just don't want to. I would get very bored of doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, there are episodes that have been put off for a while, I think, sometimes. And then they get put off and then we forget about them and then don't come back to them later. I think that's part of it. But like there's some shows that are floating out there. Like there's been a Gargoyles episode like that we wanted to do. That's been floating around that I'm sure will happen at some point, and we've got guests in mind for that one already and stuff like that. There's some shows that like I really love a lot that like I want to make happen, but we keep bumping. Like there's an episode of the 4400 that I really love, but that's a show that I want David to watch more of before we do it, and we already had a busy year, this year, so it's like just put that off until we're ready to do it.
Close it on the end of season 1, Derek. Happy to report 4400's been trucking along.
Oh, good. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Can't stop me.
Nice. Love it.
It's funny because it is like a certain flavor when I have like shows that I want to watch for the podcast to do like some background on. And then I was like, well, now I'm like deep in Riverdale.
Right.
I need to balance 4400 or a Riverdale with something like very, very normie, like a Golden Girls. Well, Golden Girls fine. I was gonna say Gilmore Girls would be a perfect palate cleanser to that.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the funny things is that one of the episodes that we wanted to cover for the longest time that just kept getting moved on the schedule was the Sarah Connor Chronicles, and finally getting to do that was incredible.
Yeah, that one actually got pushed a long time, and that for various reasons. I think it was just timing and like. Because you finished that show a long time ago, but then we already done a lot of sci-fi stuff that we had on the schedule, and
it was very sci-fi.
I also wanted to rewatch the show, so it gave me an opportunity to rewatch the whole thing again too. And I feel like anything else would just be like bonus episodes or something that we probably will do at some point, but I can't think of anything specific that's like, oh, we totally just like dropped the ball on that. Like I can't, like everything is still like on the list for the future. So
the list is massive, just so that listeners know. Anytime we come across something, and then I even have on like a notes app on my phone, just other episodes that maybe I'll hear someone else talk about on a podcast. Like at one point in time, Doug mentioned some Everybody Loves Raymond episode, and I just had to put it in this notes app, and I forget to check it and then re-update our list, but it's on there now.
Yeah, I have some things that's actually reminding me that I need to go in and like go through my Instagram messages and stuff and like add them for just things people have just suggested to look into. Yeah.
Well, this one is also from Russ. What are shows that you've watched for the first time for Gimmicks that you've continued to watch?
Yeah, this is only half counts because I'd seen the show before. I just hadn't watched it in full. But Batman the Animated Series, I had never just done a full watch through of the entire show.
Nice.
And it wasn't until after covering it the first time with Gavin is when I actually like went in. It was funny. It wasn't like immediately after. Like I think I watched a bunch of them around that time, and then I paused on it, and then like maybe a year or so later, I was like, I was really enjoying that. And I think I want to, like, I already watched like a big chunk of the first season. I want to continue. And the first season's like 65 episodes. So like a big chunk is still like only like a quarter of it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to commit to this. And then I did. And that really was only because we spent so much time talking about it on the podcast. And I knew that there would be other episodes that I hadn't seen that would be good candidates for it. And then watch that. And then just continued to watch through all the DCAU stuff, which is then how I got to like the late Mr. Kent episode of Superman that I don't think I'd ever seen before. And was like, shit, we've got to cover this one on Gimmicks. And that's really, so that my watch through of the whole DCAU, which is a thing that I previously liked a lot and like loved Justice League, but just hadn't watched everything in it, and especially not everything sequentially. This podcast got me to finally do that, which was really exciting.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. I feel very lucky that I've gotten to see a lot of television I never would be exposed to without the podcast, but it's usually in service of the episode. Like True Calling is a great example, but
oh yeah.
I downed that before we talked.
Right.
The only thing that I was waiting on was to go further than the episode until we recorded. And I think, what did I have left, Derek? Like 3 episodes or something?
Something like that. Maybe even less than that. I think maybe 2.
Yeah. 2. So I was only hanging on to a tiny little morsel afterward.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. You watched a little bit more Only Murders in the Building after we talked.
Oh, I did. I fell off of it though. I still only watched it like halfway through the second season and have not picked it back up.
Totally fair. Totally fair.
But I did watch more than I needed to for the podcast and was really into it. I wasn't expecting to watch the whole first season for that podcast, and I binged all of that. So like, that is still that's still a good one for me too.
Yeah, but I didn't do an every episode watch of like day by day, even though I had so much fun talking about that episode. It didn't compel me to go back and watch early Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, let me pull up the list.
I know
I should have been doing that because now I have to remember what episodes we've done.
I don't know that there's anything else on the list that. It's funny because, like, okay, so we did Sabrina. Like, I then watched a bunch of episodes of Sabrina, but I didn't go and, like, I really need to start from the beginning of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, because I think I've seen so many of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, well, that's a lot of them. The reason I didn't watch more is because I'd already seen it already.
Exactly.
So, like, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It is interesting.
I've been sort of hanging on to it. Okay. But I do want to watch Riverdale. We're recording this before our Riverdale episode drops on the feed.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of want to watch it and like old school tweet about it. Like I want to like,
sure.
I want to do like because I think there are enough people who love Riverdale that if I'm going to watch it, I want to like build a community around watching Riverdale.
Yeah. Oh my God. No, you know what? A big one that I'm totally missing is fucking X-Files.
Oh shit, that's right. Oh yeah, that is an X-Files. Why?
Well, yeah, because that was one that like I was a fan of doing the podcast, but had not seen every episode of it and had not watched through all of it. The thing is with X-Files though, is that it was kind of it wasn't like I immediately jumped from doing like the Bad Blood episode. I was like, oh yeah, this is prompting me to want to do it. It still took me at least a full year or two until I actually watched through all of the X-Files. I think I did that maybe 2024, I think is when I was watching through the X-Files into the beginning of 2025. So it still took me a couple of years to do that. But I'm glad I did, because then by the time we did X-Files again, I was like very, very fully prepared and everything in that. So yeah, but it's the same deal as Batman, where it's like, I'd seen it, but like what Gimmicks got me to do was just like commit to watching all of it, because I'd spent a lot of time studying it for our episode. And it's sort of like, yeah, I might as well just like take in the entire 200 episodes or whatever of it. Why not? You know?
I mean, it's a great series. I mean, it's a lot of fun. So it makes total sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, our friend Doug at Ikibuli asks, what are some shows you desperately want to talk about, but just can't find an episode gimmicky enough to include?
Oh, I think it's been on our list for a while. I would love to talk about a Chuck Lorre production. It could be Big Bang. It could be 2.5 Men. It could be Mom, which I think is probably the best of them. Because I think that he is such a figure that I want us to cover on the podcast as a producer of television. But boy, he is resistant to a gimmick. He loves a standard style of a sitcom.
Yeah. I mean, it's yeah, that's a weird one because it's one of those things where like it feels like we need to do it just because of its place in television history. Him as a creator and on so many of his shows are like some of the biggest shows that have ever existed, even if it's maybe not the population that we necessarily exist in. But like,
no, I don't think we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah. But like, I don't know. There's got to be. But like, there's literally a Big Bang Theory spinoff show right now that's about like reality breaking and parallel universe shit, right? So there's got to be something like that in Big Bang Theory, right?
It's so minimal. It's so minimal, Derek. There's some good episodes that have like stunt casting that I think, you know,
Right.
we've never done stunt casting as a gimmick that we could cover. There's one episode that's sort of a riff on oh god, famous Christmas movie. A bell rings, an angel gets its wings. What am I doing
Wonderful
here?
Life. Wonderful
Thank
Life.
you.
Yeah.
It's a riff on A Wonderful Life if Sheldon had never entered their lives,
Sure.
but it's weak. It's
Really?
very weak. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's fun to talk about when a gimmick is done poorly, though. We don't do that a lot because it's
That's true.
like, we don't do it a lot because it's not as fun, but like we can do that. Like it'd be like they tried and failed at it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they
maybe,
ever?
maybe that's our way in.
That could be a fun Christmas episode? Question mark. Did they ever do an episode that's like where they have a bunch of guest stars from one, like they have a bunch of Star Trek people, so it's all a Star Trek homage, like like that Futurama Star Trek episode? Is there anything like that?
Nowhere as good as the Futurama episode. No, you're gonna get one with Brett Spiner and Will Wheaton together,
Got
and
it.
that's
okay.
that's the max.
God,
That's the
damn,
max.
come
on,
on,
that
guys! Like we're literally trying to find a way to cover whatever. Yeah. It's funny because like on the opposite end of that, like I really do want to cover Family Guy at some point, even though it's not a show that either of us like love. But that one, I think there's too many of them. There's a lot of really great options. Actually,
Agreed. Like they do musicals, they do stunt casting, they do weird
time
format
travel stuff, parallel universe stuff, all the Road to episodes. Yeah, like there's a ton of really great concept episodes of it, but it's like there's so many to choose from, and I don't know that we'll want to do like a lot of like more than one, maybe more than two Family Guys ever. So like if we choose it, I think we would want to choose the right one or one that feels very unique to that show, and that's actually like made it harder, I think, to pick one. But that is one. I mean, I have some favorites of mine that are high up that I really want to do, but it's still like, is this the right one or not? I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Right.
The whole reason we did Hacks on Glitterjaw Presents was because we really wanted to do Hacks on the podcast, and they just never really did a good gimmick episode. Like we talked about it on that Glitterjaw Presents. You should listen to it. Subscribe to the Glitterjaw Presents feed, our variety podcast feed from all the hosts you know at Glitterjaw. But we talk about it on there, but like, we were considering like, I mean, the Amazing Race one, there's a little bit of that as kind of a gimmick episode. There's the one where Deborah's in a box, and like that's kind of an interesting one because she's in a box the whole time, but like it's still not enough really to justify it. It would have been a stretch no matter what. And then Glitterjaw Presents happened, so we were like, never mind.
Perfect.
We could finally just have a reason to talk about the show. So like the upside is that like anytime now that we have a show that we can't justifiably cover on the podcast, we can probably find some way to cover it on Glitterjaw Presents.
My time to talk about the after party has finally arrived because we can't talk about it on gimmicks because every episode is weird. So that makes none of them weird.
Yeah. I'm watching through Gilmore Girls right now, and I'm trying to look out for a gimmicky episode of it, but I don't know that that's going to happen. But I'll keep. I mean, I'm watching through it with a keen eye. So if there's anything that sticks out as a good gimmicky episode, I will flag that because I do think we should do that one also because for its importance in television, and also it's just a really good show.
Yeah.
So I would love to do that if we can find an option for it, but I don't know if we will.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about doing the podcast is there's things that I've watched from cover to cover, but it was before this was like in my life, and so I wasn't even like clocking or warehousing or thinking about this. Now I put on like an episode of Silo on Apple TV and I go, is this a gimmick? Could we cover this? I think about it. I'm just it's present in mind.
Yeah. There's a lot of other shows too that like this is the opposite end of it where it's just like kind of like the Family Guy thing where it's just like there's a lot of good options, but like we can't just cover the same show over and over again. You know, and there's a lot of things where it's just like something like, I don't know, like a Power Rangers or something where it's just like, I would want to do it for myself, but like that's not great for the podcast and just put a bunch of fucking, like, I think I did like probably the 2 best ones that I could have picked already. You know, it's like stuff like that where it's just like, well, just it's a show that I just really like, or a long running franchise that I really like, but like it's not necessarily a good pick if we're sort of keeping ourselves, you know, like limited to, you know, to the season lengths that we're doing. So there's a lot of stuff like that too.
Well, and we have so much fun doing historical things that sometimes it's like really important to dig into that. And it's not like Derek and I are like the biggest Donna Reed fans in the entire world.
Oh, right.
But
yeah.
We wanted to cover that so badly.
Yeah.
That
and then
we're going to have to include that in the season.
And it gives you an opportunity for like some variety too. If we're getting shows that we also like aren't super big fans of, but that feel just relevant and interesting to talk about, like that makes for a more interesting podcast. If we just talked about the things that we liked, then like it would honestly kind of get boring after a while, you know?
It would. Yeah. I also kind of like when we don't like something. I think to do it all the time would be exhausting. Yeah. But like I had fun talking about Glee. Like that was was a fun episode.
And again, like that's why we want to do like Big Bang Theory and Family Guy and stuff like that. It's like it's stuff that is important to the history of television, whether you like it or not. Like it is. And I think that stuff is fascinating to me of like exactly why did this hit in the way that it did with the people that it did, and what impact did it make, and what are things that you can pull from it even if it's not necessarily your vibe, you know?
Yeah, that's a good answer to this too. Like I would love to do some research on a South Park episode.
For sure, because there's a lot of really good opportunities for South Park too, for sure.
What a critical change to the animation world.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
All right, our next question is also from Doug. When it's time to prep for the podcast, what's your routine look like? What are some of your go-to methods for learning about and gaining more insight into a TV show that you are covering?
This is such a podcaster-asked question, Doug.
I love it, Doug. Thank you.
Podcaster to podcaster. How do you prep for your podcast?
I mean, obviously the first thing is that you've got to engage with the media itself. And so I think as a standard, and this is all time dependent, but we watch the episode. And I will almost always go back to the pilot. It has to be a really rough week for me not to go back to the pilot too.
It's a very because then at least we get one other taste of what the show is like that you can compare it to. Yeah, for sure. Then
I know I look at all of the folks who helped make it and look in their backgrounds to see if there's anything interesting. And so if you ever heard me on a podcast say, oh, I watched an episode of that, that's because I read a synopsis of all the other TV shows that they made, and one of them sounded bonkers, like I needed to go find an episode of it. And usually that's the case.
Yeah, you're really good about doing that. I think was one of the reasons that I needed help initially when I was doing gimmicks, is because I tried to do that in early days of gimmicks, or like if there was a movie related to the gimmick or something, for example. So it was like, oh, okay, like this episode is riffing on Sliding Doors, so I should watch Sliding Doors this week or something like that, you know?
Bless.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff though, right? Because that comes up a lot where it's like, it's this episode is inspired by this thing that happened, or this other movie that's happened, or there's other historical television things. So trying to watch that, but it's hard. It's hard to do all of that, and especially for me, I've got so many fucking like podcasts that are high research that I do at the same time. So it's been really great to have you, because you're always so gung-ho about finding these really random weird things that like sometimes don't even provide the context that I think you want it to. So it's just maybe a total waste of time, but at least like you know that it is, you know?
Here's the deal.
So that's always very helpful. I often have to depend on you for that kind of stuff because I simply don't have time to like look into some of that stuff.
And usually it's a waste of time, but every once in a while you get a little gold nugget in that pan, and that's what makes it incredible.
Yeah. I mean, it's the thing that's like, it's a little, I wish I had more time for it, because it was a nice thing at the beginning of the podcast that it was like, oh, every episode, I'm not just talking about this one episode. I get to also check off another movie that I've never seen before on the list, or discover some other related TV show or something like that. And I personally haven't been able to do that as much, like, you know, the last couple of years of the podcast as I've wanted to. So, but again, I'm glad that I can live vicariously through you for that stuff, and maybe still get some recommendations for things to check out that we learn about, you know, through that.
And it's really only been in the past year, but now anytime we cover an episode, I go to the Academy Television Interviews webpage and type in either the creator or the show, because the search database is so well designed from the Academy, and they are releasing new interviews all the time.
It's really cool.
And they are fantastic. Yeah, and it's almost, I guess the other thing I'll say about it is it's almost always worth it, which is kind of incredible, because even if I watch a silly 3-hour interview, I'm gonna get something that helps me pull on a thread from something else. And they just, for example, they just posted the Berman interview, and she worked on Malcolm in the Middle and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and was so critical in a lot of the production of series. I can't wait to watch this, even though it doesn't directly impact anything we're covering soon. It's just if you love television, it's probably the resource that I would point more and more people to.
That's really cool. What a cool thing to have found, because I don't know that I would have ever stumbled on that prior. But and a lot of really great information has come from that.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't understand people who listen to podcasts on YouTube, but that's how I listen to their YouTube videos, because they are produced for a dime. It is just a camera on a person talking. It is not super fun to watch, but you can listen to it and absorb so much.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, this is for any podcast that I do, but I always try to be okay, what is the standard stuff that you find on a Wikipedia page and on an IMDb page? Right. You have that as your baseline, but it's what can I do to dig deeper than what is here? Because there's always gonna be something more. So at least having that as a baseline, and then knowing, because I do think that one of the things that has been so fun about podcasting in general that I've had with doing these media podcasts is just learning stuff for myself, not coming in saying that I'm an expert, trying to maybe be on the road to eventually being an expert, which means that you are learning things as you go along. And so going with a sense of curiosity, being okay, again, here's the stuff that I see on this Wikipedia page. This is the stuff that the layman's going to know, that the casual people are going to most likely know. So that's not the stuff that's the most important about the podcast, because I will just be repeating what's already been said. It's more how is this as a starting point? What are the references that these are pulled from? Go to those references and then see what the actual, and sometimes the snippets of an interview you'll see on a Wikipedia page, the full interview is way more interesting.
Way better.
Sometimes it's out of context. I was doing research on a Screenonk literally just yesterday, and I was reading an interview quote on a Wikipedia page for the movie, and was this quote doesn't make sense. Went to I had to find the web archive, Internet Archive, Wayback Machine of it. And I was whoever put this on here has not, editors haven't fact checked this in forever, because I'm reading the interview and it's what is on the Wikipedia page does not match what the actual interview is. It's an incorrect quote that they put on there,
Fuck, wow.
Yeah. But there's more of that stuff than you think, because obviously there's just, Wikipedia is huge. There's a lot of stuff. Not every editor can catch everything. But I think that's why there's a lot of just misinformation on podcasts and YouTube videos and stuff, because a lot of people just skim that stuff, don't fact check it, and just take it as truth. But it is good to try to fact check that stuff yourself. And then usually I'll end up finding something else in that interview that's way more interesting than whatever the hard information on the Wikipedia page was anyway. Exactly. And then that'll clue me into something else to find another interview, and it's hard because a lot of stuff isn't cataloged as well anymore. Just Googling something isn't going to get you every article that's ever existed anymore. So you do have to work a little bit harder just to do those searches and find something very specific to to try to search for, This is going to sound like such an annoying thing to say, but and this isn't because I find every bit of information on there true, but as a good starting point. But TV Tropes is a good place to go to
100% agree.
Get to, again, as kind of a starting point to find things, because a lot of people editorialize on that website, which can be annoying sometimes, but the upside is that it gives you a good sense of how people talk about this and what people think about it. So if you just want to know, how do people perceive this one gimmicky episode of this show? on their TV tropes page, on their Your Mileage May Vary section, you
Yep.
will find people saying like, fans famously hate this musical episode or whatever. Like, you will generally find that. And that is and that's a great place to kind of level set. Like, okay, this is how people think about it. So when I'm doing my research and talking about it, getting into what like the heads of the fandom at the time and now comparing that to what I think now, or maybe what they got wrong about it or what I agree with them about it. And also, like, you know, a lot of ways to find good gimmicks of things is on TV tropes. Again, I do think that sometimes the way that things are categorized on there is a little bit annoying and sometimes not always correct and sometimes editorialized. But as a starting point and as just a sort of loose historical document of like how people talk about television, it's a great resource just to see how people are categorizing those things. And then you can agree with it or disagree with it. And I think sometimes I'll look and be like, what they say on here is incorrect.
It's bullshit.
But at least I know that that's how people are talking about or referring to this one trope, you know, or like learn, or like sometimes that is just how I discover there's a gimmicky episode of a television show.
Exactly.
Sometimes.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. I'll say the same for Reddit. I think that Reddit is, I have never brought anything from Reddit as a cited research to the podcast, but it is a helpful way of knowing where folks' minds are at. And boy, if there's a thread of what television episode did you hate, it is just a list of gimmicks for us in the future.
Right, exactly. It is often very helpful. Like, I know people, I think rightfully kind of hate on those things sometimes. And some people I think maybe take them too seriously. Like, I do think that like, it's always a red flag when people like only talk about media through the lens of names of tropes from the TV tropes website.
Exactly.
That's
It's always a little scary.
Like, you can like, I think it is useful to, if you need help defining something or categorizing something, it's again, great resource for that. And like, just simply having a name for a thing you're talking about is great.
It's
but
so cool.
like, it is a little weird when it's just like, okay, you can use other words than the names of like, than the names of like A Day in the Limelight or whatever, you know?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I think it's also funny because it represents this like weird thing of, I'm going to call it early internet just because this is like a like AI nonsense ruined internet world. But it's got this kind of early internet thing of naming things.
Yeah, and there'll be cutesy little names, you know, and it's just like they wasted a perfectly good character. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. I wonder if I'll look back at, well, I wonder if my soul looking back on life in 100 years will be like, oh, what a better time.
So sometimes it's great. Like Flanderization is a word that I think has been very adopted, like very well, or even like it's an annoying sounding one, but like Worf had the flu, or the Godzilla threshold, like stuff like that. It's like, it's an annoying thing to hear. And again, if you're just in casual conversation and you're referring to like that episode where, you know, that was their Worf had the flu episode. And that really felt like that offended my Godzilla threshold, whatever the fuck. Like that gets a little bit weird, but like, it is nice to have that as sort of like a way to latch on to like some of these abstract concepts that you're talking about, you know?
Yeah. It's giving Terra and the insect reflection, and in a way that's charming and beautiful, and in a way it's like, yeah, this is why you're a little ostracized from the group.
Yeah.
Our next question is from Will. That's at DC20WillSave. Are there any shows that you're excited to go back for a revisit in the next 100 episodes? And any that have not been visited that are on your bucket list?
I mean, the second part of the question, I think some of the things we already talked about was like stuff that even if we don't like it, but like finding some way to do Family Guy or Big Bang Theory or South Park, things like that feel necessary to TV history. We're definitely going to do a 4400 with you, David, because I love that show. Yes. Original 4400. I've never seen the new one.
There's a new one?
Yeah, the CW did a remake. It's just 4400, not the 4400. So, you know.
Drop the. I get, okay, perfect.
Yeah. Other stuff on the bucket list, though, we've gotten to a lot of the ones that were on my personal bucket list from like the beginning.
Because of how many there were on the brainstorm list, I thought that the series that I watched was a Derek favorite. And then when I told Derek I'd finished the series, he goes, oh, I haven't checked that out yet. And that is Mr. Robot. So I am excited to get to Mr. Robot eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But the best one The best one was a dialogue-free one, and we just did that recently.
Yeah. At this point though, I had a long bucket list, but like, again, we've
been checking them off.
I think we've gotten to everything that I wanted to do when I
Yeah.
started the podcast, which is kind of cool.
All right, what about revisiting?
I mean, I think the trouble is that a lot of the ones that I want to revisit most are ones you've already done like a couple of already. So it's like the more you do, the less it feels like necessary to do it. But like, I always am down for another X-Files episode.
Agreed.
I'm always down for another like Community episode. I'm always down for another Riverdale episode, obviously. But
I was getting such a craving for Smallville after we talked Riverdale for I don't know what reason, but I was like, God, we haven't done Smallville in a while. We could do a third Smallville. It would be okay.
we did a Christmas one, but it wasn't last Christmas. It was the Christmas before. Yeah. So I guess by the time we come back for another season, we could, and there's many good options from many eras of the show too. So that would be a fun, I'm always down for more of that as well. Sliders is a little bit harder, but I think we could definitely do another Sliders episode. There's a couple that could work as an option. Yeah. Any like DC animated universe show too. Like
that'd be fun.
Within the Batman, Superman. Like we haven't actually done like a Justice League or a Batman Beyond. I know definitely there's Justice League ones that we can do. Batman Beyond, I'm not as sure, but we probably could find one. It's like stuff like that, So like not the same show, but like in the same sort of spectrum that we've already talked about before.
I feel like our options are limited, but we're both big fans. I would love to get to Parks and Rec in the near future. I think that's a bucket list one for us.
We should. Is there a good Office that would be, because that's obviously a big one for television, but I don't know if there's one that would really count as a gimmick without it being a real stretch.
I'd have to rewatch it, but I know that there's one where they go out of the office and it's like a picnic thing, and that might work. I would have to rewatch a lot of Office. It's been a while, and it's not a series that I could confidently say I've seen even half of.
Yeah, I could also see that being something that's like someone just pitches us one day too. Maybe we just save it for that.
Yeah, if you are an Office head listener, please write into the podcast.
Yeah,
save us.
Yeah, but obviously we can always do more Simpsons as well. But like, between what we've done and Lee Carvalho, like right now, I don't know. We need to do that for a little while.
Agreed.
It's more Deep Space Nine too. I would like to do another Deep Space Nine episode. There's a lot of good options with that too.
Yes, please. Yeah. I think it'd become fun to go back to Mythic Quest. We've gotten to talk about it a couple times. Once for the quarantine episode, which was, my first one. And we got to talk about the deleted finale.
Yeah. Oh my God. Deep Space Nine is another show that I watched all of after we covered it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That was after we covered it.
I was thinking, but I wasn't, because it wasn't, honestly, like, not to be rude. It wasn't really because of the podcast, though.
No,
it was like, I also just generally wanted to watch it for a long time. It's my boyfriend's favorite show. So like many reasons were kind of converged into me watching through all of that, but I fucking loved it. Yes. I really did. And I'm sure, so doing it for the podcast definitely helped that. So I have seen all of Deep Space Nine now, which I was a newbie when I was doing that. So I would like to do it again, just having all of the knowledge now that I do of the show.
Yeah, that's fun. Any Star Trek that we can get to it would be incredible. I know they're all a little interchangeable because there's only so many ways to put the pieces together. And so I do think the gimmicks sometimes end up a little close. I think DS9 is probably the one that goes furthest just afield, I guess.
Yeah, there's some really big swings and famous ones that we could do.
Yeah. But like, I don't know that I'm going to be pitching a Voyager return. I think that
I'm good.
It's holodeck or bust.
Yep.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with a holodeck. Yay, holodeck. But like, we've been there. We've done that.
Yeah. Oh, I guess this is, I don't know that I would say this is on my bucket list, but one that we also need to do is a Cheers episode. I just don't know what episode that would be.
Oh, yeah. Well, listen, and a Cheers rewatch has been lingering for me.
So I think that needs to be on the fact that we've done Frasier, but haven't done Cheers. Like, I think that should be on the horizon.
I agree.
At some point too.
It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
can't think of anything else though that's like what anything else we'd want to return to.
Return to is hard. I mean, Buffy always too. Like all the basic ones, all the ones that we've, you know, all the ones that you can guess that we'd want to do a million times.
Yeah, I don't know that it's necessarily return to, but one of the things I'd go back to the universe is I think there's a breaking Saul, a Better Call Saul that we could get to.
Oh sure,
that would keep us in the Breaking Bad universe.
Are we down with that?
That series got a lot of attention, and that'd be fun to talk about.
I think we definitely should do that at some point for sure. I agree with that. Yeah. All right. Well, our friend Stick at Stick Around 54, he's been on a couple of anime episodes, so he of course has an anime question and does an anime podcast, The Other Way Anime. So like totally makes sense. Thanks for your anime rep on Gimmicks.
Seriously, thank you so much, Stick.
Yeah,
I feel bad because like, what if we covered an anime episode and didn't invite Stick?
I know, but like, he's not the only anime fan in the world, but also like for our podcast, like, I don't know. It's just kind of worked out great.
Yeah.
So maybe, what anime gimmick do you think you would like to cover? A beach episode, random sports event episode, or maybe something you've had your eye on? And that is funny because like, especially a beach episode, I think for sure, because that is such a standard, and especially in anime, and there's a million choices. So that's like literally any anime that we have ever been curious about or wanted to watch or something. Easy go-to. I think that is the go-to. Sports event, less so for me, because I think sports animes where like the entire anime is a sports event are interesting. I can't think of an anime where I've seen like they do a sports thing that has stuck out to me as being one that I was really interested in, but I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
Other than like martial arts tournaments, but like that's a different thing, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, because that's so closely related to their actual thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. This is hard for me too, because of course I have seen such a limited scope of anime, but I'm familiar with the concept of the beach episode. I love that even like some of the like small exposure I have to anime have beach episodes. Feels like that certainly is something that we could talk about as a type of filler. I loved the episode on Dragon Ball Z we did with Stick on sort of the filler.
Yeah.
So I don't know that we need to go back to just filler.
Right.
But even a clip show in an anime would be kind of fun to talk about, because it is sort of the evolution of that need for filler, but that also need to save money.
Yeah. The question would be finding like one that feels like a good one.
Yeah.
Or one, because like there's times when I think that it's done, but it's like right near the finale, and it's like not. I don't know. It's like
it's
not like it's a good high concept. It's more just like I don't know.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one that I maybe could be a struggle of finding a good option for it. But
agreed.
Yeah. I mean, there's like Digimon stuff that I would love to do. At some point too, there's like an episode from the original Digimon Adventure anime that like it's like directed by the the animator that did like the original like movie for it.
Cool.
Did the adventure movies, and so it kind of looks different, and also is like a really weird sort of quiet episode, like kind of in the middle of it, that is like pared down cast. It's literally just like Tai and his sister basically in the real world in the middle of it. It's just a really interesting episode. So there's like stuff like that I'm familiar with, but I can't think of a specific one that I had been thinking of, because any anime that I really like, especially recently, I don't think I've really run into a gimmicky episode of it, unfortunately. Like I'd love to do like a Delicious in Dungeon or a Beastars or something, but I don't think any of them really have a good like gimmicky episode that would work for the podcast.
Kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to move into our next major category, which is sort of TV in general. And we've got two related sets of questions from Hamish at Hamish Steele and Tommy at Awkward Comma, both co-hosts on the Glitterjaw Queer Podcast Collective. Hamish asks, what gimmick are you tired of seeing? Which don't you see enough? And Tommy asks, what's a gimmick TV needs more of, and what's one we need less of?
I love that it's like just the reverse order for these two.
It's a glass half full, glass half empty situation.
Yeah. I feel like we got this question when we did the original Q&A or a similar one.
Okay.
But I don't remember. It feels familiar to me.
Okay.
If we did, I don't remember what my answer is. So
me neither. And I did not go back and listen.
I did not. So ignore whatever I said then. If I'm contradicting myself. My thing is like, the reason I started this podcast was because I love TV shows doing high concept episodes. And so like, I know it's a cop out answer, but like, I don't really, there's none that I'm tired of seeing of. There's none that I'm tired of seeing, because for me, it's like, it's less like, it's less of like, I liken it less to like a plot device or something and more to a genre in a way. I know that's not literally what it is, but in the sense that like a sort of just canvas to paint on and play, a space to play around in. Like, I'm never going to say like, I think we should just have less science fiction, because that's like such a broad thing that many things can do stuff within. And I feel the same way, where it's just like, yeah, there's tons of bad musical episodes and there's tons of bad chamber pieces and stuff like that.
Agreed.
But like, I'm not tired of seeing it, because I want to see how anything will play in that space. I'm interested in seeing anything try out something. And if it fails, that's still interesting to me, because they still tried to do something different.
Agreed. Yeah. When I was first considering this question, I thought, what am I tired of us covering? Because
sure, that is fair though, because there is a difference, because some gimmicky high concept things are less interesting to talk about, or we've done it a lot.
Well, and that's what I felt like. We just had a rash of like clip shows for a little while, because we did 2 fake clip shows in a season with Frasier and Maniac Mansion, which was a blast, and I loved talking about each of them.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't need another fake clip show for a while.
Yeah, sure. Because it's like more common than you'd think it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, those aren't even like, we did probably like the two least known installments. Like everybody knows the Community one, and a lot of people know the Clerks one. Like, and we have not done those 2. We did Frasier and Maniac Mansion. So we will have to revisit those eventually, I think.
We will. So once my palate settles, I would actually love to talk Clerks, because I think that's the only episode we could do of Clerks too.
Well, yeah, low, like a very, very few to choose from, I think.
Yeah, small N, but at least there's one in the mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I originally read that, but you're right. I would watch even like the hackiest, sloppiest thing just to get more insight on what goes through the mind. Like, I know that there are bad Simpsons clip shows, but there's still a context to like consider the world in.
I still like would like to do one day, maybe even as like a bonus, maybe not a full episode, but another Simpsons clip show. I think the second one that they did, that was their Valentine's Day, or not Valentine's Day. Maybe it was Valentine's Day. It was the romance one, where it's all like based around love stories, because that one, it's like bad on purpose. Like, they did it, they made it to spite the network. And so it's a horrendous episode of television, but it's so fucking interesting. It's like kind of punk that they were like saying fuck you by making a shitty episode of TV because they hated the network, that the network was forcing them to do it. You know, like that kind of stuff is really interesting to me.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I would do that for the same thing. But then like, you also have All Singing, All Dancing, which is kind of like a revelation. Like it's
kind of really great. Yeah.
It's kind of really great.
Yeah, so, that's true.
It's almost fun to just think about all Simpsons clip shows in like a little bucket together of like,
that's not a bad idea for like just a bonus thing that we do one day.
Yeah,
it's just
we
like,
could do that.
We just talk Simpsons clip shows in general. Yeah. I'm getting a memory flashback. I'm getting like a detective putting the pieces together.
Oh my God, this is you're True Davies. You're having this is your image of the future, Derek.
Well, she time traveled. That's not how that worked at all.
Well, you're about to time travel, Derek.
Okay. Sure. I think you're getting the rules of that show a little bit wrong.
It's been a while.
If I can be a little bit nerdy. Jack was the one who got visions of.
That's right.
When True traveled back in time, he got visions of what the victims saw before they died. So
that's right. So you're just Jason Priestley in my mind.
That's fine. You know what? Season 2, Jason Priestley, I'll take it. No, I do think I remember. I think in our last Q&A, I don't remember what I said, but I think you said you didn't like things where it turned out they were a dream.
Yes,
I feel like was the thing that you didn't like.
And now we've covered none of those. And now I'm like, I could go for a dream episode.
Yeah,
like,
because we really haven't.
we really have done none. It feels like I made a declaration. I really didn't.
We've done stuff where there is dreams involved, but it's not like the episode turns out to be a dream or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we should add that to the list somehow.
So
find a good
we
one.
need a Family Matters or something.
A family yeah, probably something like that. Yeah. Oh my God. No, I just thought of another one for my bucket list. Full House. We need to do Full House.
Oh, fuck.
And I have
yes,
a couple of good. There's not great choices, but I have one that I think maybe is a Galaxy Brain idea. So I'm not going to say it on the podcast.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
I'll talk to you
awesome. After. Oh, great. Yeah. I'd love to do Full House. That is another one that just seems like a researcher's dream too.
Yes.
Because sometimes we cover things and it's like, I'm pulling at like nothing.
Yeah.
But Full House has been written about.
Yeah. We'll talk after because I have an idea that I think could be kind of cool.
Like when we covered Saved by the Bell, what a dream. What a dream. God, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, so I don't have an answer for less of. I think more. Okay. Make it all happen. And for our podcast, I don't know that I have an answer for that either because I'm always interested in how different shows tackle the same ones. There's not really one that I'm tired of really. Yeah. That I can think of. Like I guess we've done a lot of we've done a lot of like chamber piece bottle episode types, but I'm never mad to see one.
Never mad.
I don't know.
Never mad about it. It's always, especially when there's different motivations for doing it. Like sometimes people are being very artistic and sometimes people are truly, it's a bottle episode because we are out of money. And that's fun to talk about too.
For sure. Yeah. So there's none that I'm mad to see on television. Some shows are more equipped to do those things than others. Like there's some, I know I've joked about like every show should have a musical. That's not actually true. Not every show needs to have a musical, but like if any show that tries it, I'm still interested. And I think any show is equipped to do some kind of high concept episode at some point,
Yeah, just give me some gorgeous photography. Let's do a black and white episode. It could be a noir or it could just be black and white for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's gorgeous to look at.
Yeah. But a gimmick that we don't see enough or that TV needs more of, that's a much harder question for me.
Yeah. I mean, I'd never be mad at the characters who are just normal people doing a heist. That would always make me happy no matter what.
I'm always down for an episode that just like the main cast or main character is not present in.
I do like that.
Anytime. I'm always happy to see that. And I do think more like, I think it's become a common thing where shows do like the, a Dark Quiet Death type style or the Last of Us style where it's just like, oh, we're going to do an episode focused on completely different characters. And I like that. But I think there's something different between that where it's like a completely separate story in the universe and it's sort of in the same space and features like the same supporting cast and just doesn't have the main cast.
Right.
Like that's kind of cool. Like funny enough, we relatively recently did on Wallping Web Snappers, a 2017 Spider-Man cartoon episode that like would work for like an episode of this podcast because it's like the first, maybe only episode of that whole show that Peter Parker and his voice actor are simply not in at all. It focuses on all the other Spider people. And the whole point is that Peter Parker is like not around and missing and he's not there the entire time. There's not even a cute voice cameo. And like that kind of stuff is cool because like it maybe isn't the most daring thing you could do, but like it is a show called Spider-Man about the Peter Parker Spider-Man. So to not have him in an episode, even if there's other Spider people in it, is still an interesting swing to do, So like that kind of stuff is always really fun. And I feel like you always can tell that they're being a little bit more inspired and a little bit more creative and trying a little bit harder when they do things like that.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I do also think that probably there are things that just aren't going to be part of TV in the future. Like I do think, I mentioned it a couple times, but I think probably stunt casting is over. I think because Julia Roberts choosing to be on Friends was a really big deal for their Super Bowl episode because, oh my God, it's Julia Roberts. She's a big film star. Yeah. Nobody who does films would ever come to television. And that's just like simply not true anymore.
Yeah. Everybody does streaming TV and half the time you don't even realize they've done it. It's like not a big deal. So,
yeah. So I would love for TV to always be the same thing forever and ever, but I also love innovation and change and growth. And so we just have to, maybe the thing I haven't seen enough is new gimmicks and just new things that sort of push the envelope or do something weird and different.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Yeah, invent a new high concept episode. I can't think
Right.
of it because I have not the one inventing it, but like do something that I've never seen before. You know,
Exactly.
I think there's less room for that in the way that streaming TV especially is built right now. It's the kind of stuff that like I like that Riverdale did, where it would kind of try stuff. You know, there's an
Yeah.
episode of Riverdale. I imagine I have it on the gimmicks board. I don't remember what the title of it is, but there's one where like the whole episode is basically just the characters talking to like a psychiatrist that shows up and trying to work through all the truly bananas shit that's happened in Riverdale while they're talking to this like new, I think it's Gina Torres, I believe, if I remember correctly,
Is the therapist?
is the therapist.
Oh,
yeah.
Derek.
Yeah.
You've been holding out on me.
I'd have to rewatch that one to make sure, but I'm pretty sure like the whole episode is framed around that, you know, and it's like, what if like a therapist showed up in the crazy world of Riverdale, you know?
I mean,
like
I know it doesn't, like someone wrote it, but it does kind of write itself.
it does, yeah. So like that kind of stuff too. Like I think that that's always really cool to
Yeah.
have an outside character then comment on the ridiculousness of the TV show you're in. Having room to do that kind of stuff is really cool.
I hate to keep going back to things on our bucket list, but I just remembered Sopranos is on. We have
Oh,
to find
fuck.
a Sopranos. If
Yeah.
For no other reason than the world needs to know how we feel about Tony Soprano.
That's another hard one because like there's a couple of good ones and it's like what's the right one to do and what one is
Right.
more like which one is more gimmicky versus which one has more to talk about. So
Yeah.
we definitely will have to do that one too. Yeah.
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 Fun questions. Thank you, Hamish and Tommy.
Yeah. A similar one to that, Christian, who we've had on the podcast recently, the Babylon 5 episode, at Chris E1701 on socials, asked least favorite gimmick in a favorite show, which is an interesting way to frame it. So like
Yeah.
a show that we love that did, I think you can take it two ways. I think you can take it as either like the gimmick that they used was not right for the show, or it was just a bad episode
Yes.
using that.
Yes.
That's
And I've
hard.
got an answer. I've got an answer for both, Derek.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm a little hesitant to call West Wing a favorite show, but because it is a show that I'm very familiar with, there was a episode produced after the 9/11 attacks that aired very quickly for America.
We've talked about this many times.
Yep.
David's
and
been threatening to do this on the podcast for a long time.
It is fetid. It is rotten and has aged even worse as time has gone by. But it is sort of like, what if we just took our characters and put them in a story that had nothing to do with anything, and even had our characters appear before the episode telling you this episode doesn't have anything to do with anything. There's no continuity.
Jesus.
Just let us have fun.
Rude.
And then it's the most racist, terrible piece of trash that has ever aired on NBC. That's
Wow.
Well, that was bold, given history, but like
Yeah, sure.
pretty rough. Pretty rough.
Yeah. Huh.
There's
Yeah.
got to be other stuff though that has aged really bad.
Like in terms of racism, like
Oh,
is that what you mean?
I wasn't
Oh, you mean- or you mean-
necessarily thinking of that, but like
Gimmicky stuff.
gimmicky stuff. Like I do think that like the girls eating cheesecake episode of the Golden Girls would be very dull, which is their sort of clip show framing.
Yeah.
I think that would be dull. I don't think we would have a lot of fun talking about it. I think it's very 80s and wouldn't be very exciting for us to discuss.
Sure. I mean, I do want to do the hurricane episodes from, you know, with Golden Girls and whoever else was involved in it. I don't remember.
Yes, nurses. So there was
yeah.
there was 3, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the reason I bring that up is because I know like that one's a famous one that I'd like to do, even if it's just like a bonus episode. But I think that like there's other cases where other networks have done things like that and like didn't really commit to it. Like I know that there was like NBC did a blackout one with a bunch of shows, and which one is it? Seinfeld, where they like just
Seinfeld
like
didn't
give a fuck
participate.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like so stuff like that, and like we talked about the TGIF time ball thing, but the fact that like Teen Angel didn't give a fuck at all and like barely utilized it, like that kind of stuff makes me mad. And I kind of feel like I also want to talk about like Fox the animated shows did their own version of the hurricane one that I still think is worth talking about, but I think like I don't recall if everything committed very well to that. So
Right.
But that's one I want to talk about. So that's not really a good answer because I don't know if that's my least favorite. It's more just like, I think when shows have done that, I feel like it's always like you can tell who felt forced to do it and wasn't interested in doing it and kind of half-assed it. And that feels annoying to me, because it's like, then why are we doing this sort of like thematic crossover thing if not everyone's involved in it, you know?
Yeah, I do remember that I have a bad taste in my mouth about when Elizabeth Taylor like invaded, I think it was the CBS lineup, and it was a paid promotion.
That's the Pearls one, right?
Her pearls went missing across all 4 episodes of TV, and then Liz Taylor, I think, showed up in The Nanny, which was the end of the block.
Yeah,
and I remember like watching it live and thinking like, this is the biggest trash ever, because I think all the commercials also were for her fragrance. And what did I, even me, a young gay, not interested in Liz Taylor's fragrance?
Sure. Yeah. I'm trying to think too. There's actually a Power Rangers one that might be on the list that I don't think we'd ever do, because it's not, I think it is a thing where it's like, oh, this is a clever idea that you did like really poorly. But it was like a Rashomon style episode that Power Rangers SPD did, which is like a really good Power Rangers series. And they did a lot of stuff for like, they worked really hard to like make it just a good like science fiction children's show. Like went kind of above and beyond with a lot of stuff, a lot of really cool like animatronics and stuff in that show. But they did one episode that was a Rashomon style one. And like the thing with Power Rangers obviously is that like it's a show that like is on a budget that utilizes the fact that there's pre-existing action footage and special effects footage they can use from the Japanese version, and then they just sort of use it however they want. And so the smart thing that they could be doing with a Rashomon episode is like repurposing that footage in funny ways, or unique ways. But what they end up doing is just like replaying the same fight sequences just with some different voiceover lines, and nothing else changes. So it's like a really half-assed way to do it. And it's a thing that like I would have maybe expected like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers season 2 to be doing. But I'm like, this was a show that actually like was pretty good. And it's like such a half-assed way to do a Rashomon style episode, especially because that cast for that season was like all very distinct and like all kind of like, it was a very like ragtag group of misfits type of group. And so like plenty of opportunities for people to be like fighting and arguing and having different perspectives. And they do not utilize that at all. It's just like, here's some action footage and some funny voiceover lines, and they say it differently and everyone's retelling. And it's like, okay, but like nothing's different. Like, what is the point of this? And it's just, it ended up just feeling like a cost saving measure more than anything, which is like a weird way to deploy a Rashomon style story.
It's wild, because I kind of feel like with all the pieces in front of me, it feels pretty easy to build something pretty memorable and good out of that.
Yeah, but it's pretty disappointing.
I'm obviously not like a huge Power Rangers head, and I've never seen an SPD, but it just feels like with the set of tools in front of you, you could have really played with this and still saved money.
Yeah, it always struck me as odd. It's sort of like, why did you even try? Like, this is really poorly handled.
This is wrong.
Yeah.
Well, also from Chris, we have a question. If you had to create a show based on a gimmick, for example, Sliders or Glee, which I'm accepting are sort of like set around one common weird thing, what would you pick?
Oh, geez. That is hard. This maybe is too broad, but like, I like the idea of, this is kind of similar to what After Party did, to be honest, but like every episode being a different genre.
Oh, I loved that though. And that's kind of my answer too. Like, I would love someone to really be playful with the way in which you're telling a narrative.
Yeah, like and I do think like, the After Party utilized it with like a murder mystery, but like I think you could deploy that with anything, that it's just like, if you have a large enough ensemble, even if it's like every character sort of represents a different genre, like in the After Party, it can be any type of like structure or any type of general plot, and it's just every episode kind of focuses on a different character's story, and their story is told a different way. One character is more of a noir person, one character's more of a teen drama person, one character's like more of like a wacky animated, thing, one character's more of a multicam sitcom, and like every episode is different. I think that would be my kind of dream show.
I also know that what I'm about to propose is ridiculously expensive, but it would be really cool to watch an animated series in which it just was totally different animation every episode.
Oh, for sure.
Like That would be incredible. It would be such a fun experience. But I recognize that like what I am actually pitching is, could you please give me 20 different animated shows?
Sure. But I mean, if that was possible, I think that would be really, really cool.
Agreed. It would be something amazing to see and watch. And what sort of story then would you avail yourself of if you had access to that? Because I had a lot of fun with that Adventure Time episode that we talked about that brought in the Glitch team and really focused on like taking a weird swing. And I think just watching a whole series that would be really, really fun.
Yeah. That's a very cool question though. Yeah. So we got a question from Alex at CLexGC. Asked, have you guys seen Strange Days at Blake Halsey High? I feel like it has some gimmicky episodes, but it's been such a long time since I saw it in Mexico. It used to air very late at night on Fox Kids. That's funny. So Strange Days of Blake Halsey High. Yes, I have. I do like that show. It's a Canadian show. It's also known as Black Hole High in some markets. I don't remember which was the original name. But I think maybe Black Hole High was the Canadian name, and then in America and other markets it was Strange Days. Don't quote me on that. I'm not positive. This is a show. It's kind of you haven't seen this, David. I'm sure.
No. But it sounds cool.
It's kind of like I liken it to being kind of like a sci-fi So Weird in a way.
Okay.
That it's aimed at that same age group where it's like it's not a full show for teenagers, but it's not a little kids show either. It's like it's aimed to be for like around 12-year-olds, and I do think the show over its like 4 seasons kind of grows up with those kids because it gets darker as it goes along.
Wow, 4 seasons.
It's sort of. They're short seasons, and the fourth season is basically just a movie cut up into 3 episodes. It has a whole resolution. It's like So Weird in that it's aimed at age group. It's unafraid to be kind of dark sometimes, and it does have its own lore that's dealt with like backstory of the weird school that they're in and parents and issues with parents and stuff like that goes through the whole show, and there is like a conclusive ending and everything to it. With this show, I came to it kind of late. I haven't seen every episode of it. I've mostly seen like the last couple of seasons of it, and then like smatterings of the first 2. So I saw enough of it, but I got into it right when it was getting like all main lore exploration, main narrative stuff all the time and a lot darker. But because I kind of came to it late, I think I was a little too old for it by the time I started watching it. So it was so it wasn't a show that was like meaningful to me. It was sort of like, oh, this is a cool kids show. I appreciate it. Yeah. But a lot of it didn't really stick with me. But I do think it was a show that I thought was very cool, that it was like a hard science fiction show for children. That did a lot of wild stuff. There is some like significantly dark things and like existential things about clones and parallel universes and stuff in that show that I remember being really, really cool. So I would be down to do it at some point. For sure. We would just have to find a good episode for it. I cannot think of an episode off the top of my head, but I know they did some weird time travel-y stuff at certain points. So
yeah, I mean, I had a blast with So Weird. So yeah, I would love to check this out.
It's not as good as So Weird, and not as emotionally impactful, I think, as So Weird is The Thing. But in terms of just like cool world building and like cool like sci-fi narratives, I think that's where the show is. To my memory, that's where it kind of excelled.
Hey, anytime I see wallpaper, I think about those ghosts in the wallpaper. So weird. So Weird had its impact on me.
Sure.
Alex also asked, what is your favorite snack to eat while watching a special episode of TV?
I am always eating while I watch television is the thing. So it can be literally anything. And I don't know what my favorite is because it depends on my mood. I am a big cheese plate and or charcuterie board person. I make all those for myself all the time.
Yes.
I do girl dinner, like a beast.
I love it.
I like, classic, just like popcorn. I do like air pop popcorn, and usually with like coconut oil, maybe like ghee on it sometimes. And like, like white cheddar or butter seasoning or whatever you put on it.
Yeah. I smuggled some of that white cheddar out of the United States last time I was there to visit, because I'm certain it is not allowed to be sold here.
Yeah, I'm sure whatever chemicals are in that would not be legal outside of the US. And I have a big Godzilla like tin popcorn bucket that I got when was it Godzilla versus Kong or Supernova or New Empire? One of those. Whenever one of those came out, I think New Empire when that one came out, that I have for it. That's my really unhealthy one because the salt content is way too high when I make that. I'm feeling it today because I had some yesterday. But yeah, I don't know. It just depends on my mood. I'm always eating when I watch TV. It's a problem. I have a hard time not eating because I need to do something with my hands when I'm watching stuff. You know,
agreed. And
honestly,
I also
honestly, I eat less when I'm doing podcast prep because I'm taking notes while I'm watching.
Me too. And it's funny because when I do podcast prep, I'm here at like the desk. But if I'm watching TV for recreation, I'm on the couch.
Sure.
And there is something about being on the couch where I feel like I have to be eating something, and it has to be crunchy, Derek, for me. I can't enjoy anything that doesn't have a little bit of crunch. Popcorn apparently has enough crunch because I was really vibing on the popcorn, even though now that I say it out loud, it really is like I put popcorn into my mouth, I close my mouth, I let it like dissolve, and then I swallow it. I'm a disgusting person.
That's horrible.
But my new favorite, like not new, but I've done this for years. One of my favorite snacks is to just get like a bag of lettuce, and then I just sit there and eat like chopped up pre-washed lettuce. Like a strange deconstructed salad monster.
Some rabbit, sure.
Yeah. But I started doing it because I was eating like pork rinds, which are fucking delicious.
I love pork rinds.
But if you eat pork rinds too much, you will start to notice changes in your body that are like high blood pressure, you know, high sodium. And so I was like, well, what makes a similar crunch to a pork rind? And the answer is iceberg lettuce that is chopped up, and it's kind of incredible.
Wow. I mean, you know what? I've been eating too much salt my whole life, and I've never had high blood pressure.
Oh, damn, Derek.
I've had high cholesterol since I was like 12 years old, but that's a different story. I've just, it's just like, okay, put me on Lipitor, and there you go. I'm fine.
Bring it on.
Yeah. I mean, I have been on that for a very long time, so whatever. Yeah, this salt, you don't know. I mean, I'm waiting for the heart disease to kick in, but so far I've been okay.
Incredible. But the crunch, I also wonder if the reason I need subtitles on is because I'm eating the loudest foods I own, and not just that I have trouble hearing.
That's what I was going to say. I don't like crunchy stuff when I'm watching things because I can't hear.
Yeah. That's fair. That's really fair.
Oh boy.
Dinner, though, if I'm ever like making lunch or dinner, there's very specific things I put on the television. It's like Jeopardy.
Oh, really?
Like I won't watch a Riverdale over dinner. I will only watch.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, something that's like, I guess something interactable. I almost always watch game shows when I eat.
Okay. No, I will watch full ass movies while I'm having dinner.
Oh,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love that though.
Yeah. Our friend Tommy at Awkward Comma,
who we love.
Friend Tommy, we love. Friend, fellow co-host, incessant troll, I think too.
Troll is a good descriptor, I believe.
Ask this question: rank these bottle episodes. 22 short films about Springfield from The Simpsons. Take Me Out to the Holosuite from Star Trek. Mystery Spot from Supernatural. Roswell That Ends Well from Futurama. Conspiracy Theories and Interior Design from Community, and the finale from Seinfeld.
This hurt my soul, and I feel like that was Tommy's intention to cause us pain.
Very shortly after complaining about people not using bottle episodes correctly, then and not a single episode of these count as bottle episodes. I don't think.
No, I the Community episode I don't recognize.
Oh no, that is the conspiracy one. With Jeff and Annie and fuck, what is his name? Professor Garrison is, but I can't remember the actor's name. But you know that one, and there's lots of people getting shot in it and stuff. So no, not a bottle episode.
No, and the Roswell That Ends Well Futurama is the sort of what if, and they go back in time.
It's not a what if. It's just a full on time travel, time paradox episode. Okay. It's very, very, very good. It's probably maybe the best episode ever of Futurama, to be honest.
Oh, I'm sure I've seen it.
Maybe it's really good.
Okay. Mystery Spot, of course, is time loop, 22 short films, vignettes.
Yeah.
Holosuite is.
I'm curious how you put this list together, Tommy. I want to know where this came from.
Like, did you go to the Reddit, what's your favorite bottle episode that was causing me heartburn?
I bet I bet he did, because some of the stuff he would know, but some of it I'm not sure if he's as familiar with.
Yeah.
So yeah. But maybe, although I don't know. I feel like he's seen all these things. But in any case, they are all technically like gimmicky episodes in one way or another, though, is the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like they're all episodes that we've covered Take Me Out to the Holosuite and 22 short films. The rest of them we have not covered, but easily could. Like I would love to do Mystery Spot one day. I love that episode of Supernatural.
Yeah.
And that episode of Futurama, I love that episode too. All of these really, other than the Seinfeld finale, and that one would still be an interesting one to talk about.
It would be fascinating to talk about. What a missed expectations finale.
Yeah, right. But as far as ranking them goes, obviously they're not bottle episodes. But I guess if we are to actually rank them just as episodes in general that we like, that is hard. I don't know if I would.
It's impossible because they're so different.
They're so different. Yeah.
I could not possibly pick. I would only have to evaluate them on their presence as bottle episodes, and then they're all tied for 6th place because they just simply aren't.
They're not. But they're all episodes that are interesting and or just straight up good. Other than the finale, these are all episodes that I would call very good.
Yeah,
actually.
Even though I couldn't quite remember the Community episodes, just it has also been a while since I've like watched. Maybe I should rewatch Community. But yeah, the finale from Seinfeld is the only one that I remember being like, "What a stinker."
Yeah, that would be at the bottom, and then everything else is fighting for.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, Tommy.
Thank you. No, thank you.
Well, let's move into our final sort of category, just like hodgepodge, miscellaneous, or as we would say on Jeopardy, potpourri. Hamish asks us, if your life was a musical episode, what type of song would you sing, genre, function in the story, etc.? Incredible
Christ.
Question. No, I mean, I want an I want song. I really do. They speak to me. They're wonderful. They seem inherently queer. That might be because I grew up on Howard Ashman I Want songs. But,
yeah, of course.
And I love, and Hamish did this in Dead End Paranormal Park, but I love when an I Want song is actually wrong and you're singing about the wrong thing that you want while also saying what you really want.
I mean, that feels very realistic. I kind of like that. I mean, I like that. That is a good answer. I have a hard time not like, if I did an I Want song, it would also be kind of like not good. It would be like, this is me making a mistake. I need to fix. Yeah. Cause I don't know, but I also, I don't know that I want that. I don't know that I want an I Want song for me, or that best represents me, but I don't really know what else it would be though. Jesus Christ, this is really, really hard, because even like when you go for like the genre of the song, like I don't know, I kind of think that I would just default to like a classical Broadway musical type thing. Like there's other music genres that there's music genres that I like a lot, but I don't know that fit me necessarily, you know?
I could go for a fun like sort of almost power ballady love song too. I think that would be kind of fun. But again, I want it to be subverted. So I'm thinking like the Anya Xander song from the Buffy musical. Like I kind of want, I want subversion to be part of what I deliver as part of my performance.
Yeah, I would want it. I would want mine to be a little bit like poppier too. I think like kind of a less like of a sweeping, big orchestral thing, and more just like not like full like rock musical necessarily, though it could be. I would be here for that. Maybe something more in that direction, and a little bit more just like fun, like Snap Your Fingers Too, or like a song from Grease or something like that. That kind of thing.
Maybe something that could like knuckle its way onto like 39 in the top 40.
Right. It probably wouldn't be anyone's favorite song, but it would be a song that you like enjoy and remember, that like can be kind of an earworm. But like, what the fuck would the song be? That's my struggle. Like, and like where it is in the story. I feel like it would be like a supporting character song that's like trying to convince the main character to do something. And like, here's what I know. Here,
Right.
I'm going to tell you. And then maybe it's actually bad advice because it works for me. It doesn't work for the main character.
But that's a fun way to like get something boppy too.
Yeah.
Derek, would you do a patter song?
Would I do a patter song?
Oh,
Maybe.
I love a patter song, and that's a good sidekick genre.
Yeah. I guess I could do
Oh.
that.
You do a patter song.
Maybe.
I can
Yeah.
hear it. I can hear it on the call center's wait music right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I would like it to be something kind of just like weird and offbeat too, in a way, which could be, could be that. It's just like a song that ultimately like probably doesn't actually add anything to the story. And it's just like a diversion, or it's just like, well, that doesn't really help me make my decision in whatever my big decision is. So I'm just going to move on. And then I'm just like, okay, bye. And then
This
go
is
do
great.
my own thing.
This is great. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, we need to do a musical. It's been too long, I think, since Gimmicks has done a musical. We should.
What's the last musical that we did?
Not since I've been here.
Wait, no, that's not true. Really?
Is that not true? Yeah, I think it.
We
I think
haven't-
I think it is.
Well, Glee. Technically.
oh, well, sorry. Wow.
Glee, and then the Community episode that we did as a bonus, kind of after that.
Wow.
So that actually was
Scrubbed
pretty recent.
Scrubbed my prefrontal real fast to that. It's funny how much Glee doesn't feel like a musical, even though it like
Doesn't.
literally is a musical.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
but I mean, I guess we should play just a proper musical that isn't tied
Yeah.
to Glee and weirdness with that, I guess.
Yeah,
Soon.
maybe just something not directed by Matthew Morrison. I would be happy.
Right. Sure. Yeah, it's a good question, Hamish, but a really hard one. I'm going to be thinking about that for a long time. And like,
Yeah, me too.
I wish I could think of like a pre-existing song in a musical that's sort of like, that's so me, but like that right now, there's nothing that's like coming to mind that I feel like I connect with enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It would have to be something. I would like the musical itself to be just fucking weird and not real is the thing. Like
Yes.
I would want it to just be a full on sci-fi fantasy thing. That would change the game a lot. Cause then I'd fucking do whatever the fuck I want in that. But if it's trying to be my actual life, I don't know if it's as interesting. But,
Agreed. Agreed. You know, we could do like a good Skid Row or Bell with every host on Glitterjaw, and we could all have our own little sections of the introduction song to the musical.
Actually, that feels right. I feel like I do feel like Belle's opening song in Beauty and the Beast. That feels like the most. I feel like I connect with that the most. I'm just like, here's me doing my own thing, and nobody else really gets it, but
Yeah,
that's
they're all
fine.
the worst.
Yeah, I kind of, if I'm going to connect with any of them, that
Yeah.
maybe is the closest to where I would be in the musical. It's just
And
part
this-
of that.
this giant man is interesting.
But in that scenario, you know what? I'm not Belle in that scenario. I'm one of the fucking freaks that like, that Belle's like, yeah, these fucking idiots. I'm just one of that ensemble. I'm like the lady with fucking 6 dozen eggs or whatever the fuck that can't feed her children. Like,
They're
I'm
too
one of those fucking
expensive.
freaks. Yeah, I'm one of those fucking freaks who's doing everything wrong and watching this fucking hot lady just walk through and just be like, what's her deal?
Yeah.
Why can't what's happening? Why
Yeah.
is this life right now?
Why is she reading? This is France.
Yeah, or I'm just one of the fucking, yeah, maybe I'm just one of the fucking furniture pieces in the castle. Like,
Wow.
yeah.
Hey, listen, I had a big crush on the rug when we did Beauty and the Beast. So if you're still
Sure.
listening, rug man, call me.
Yeah, I'll be one of the bathroom utilities helping bathe Beast.
Yeah,
In that
well,
one
listen.
Yeah. Mhm.
You just go every night and pluck one of those petals off the rose because you're like, this is the life.
There you go. Sounds pretty great. Yeah, this has gone off the rails. Let's go to another question.
Yes. This next one is from Stick. He said, if our wonderful hosts were stuck in a bottle episode, where would we choose for the setting?
I would love to be stuck in a mall.
Ooh, like an
Old-
90s mall, like an old mall.
An old 90s mall that has no. An abandoned mall that has been closed for a long time.
Oh, shit. Derek, you're putting me in a horror movie with you.
It doesn't have to be a horror movie. It can still be fun.
Okay, as long as it's still fun, that's great.
Yeah,
The
it's not like
clearance
it's
is
not
still
like
open.
it's not like that. It's scary and falling apart.
Okay,
It's
okay.
just that like it's not like, oh, the mall's gonna open, after the holiday, it'll be fine. It's sort of like we're just stuck in this mall and have to like figure out what to do for a while. I don't know, and that just seems interesting to me, and sort of like the remnants of what was a mall. Because I think once you're in a when you're locked in like a mall that has been thriving, you have all the shit in the world. That's a fun adventure. It's a little more dire when it's sort of like there's cool stuff that's left behind, but not enough to just feel like you could just live here right now.
Right.
Like
right.
That's interesting to me.
Yeah. I've played now with everything left at the Hammerkel Schlimmerker store. I don't like, what else are we going to do with the rest of our time?
Right. Yeah.
That's interesting. You know what's funny is that my instant thought of this, and then I sort of had to like figure out, I had to do like some psychological analysis as to why. Like I kind of want to be trapped in like a sauna. I want there to be a ticking timer. I do want there to somehow be a little bit of danger to us being stuck someplace.
Okay.
And I think it would also make for fun storytelling. Like you're sort of bereft of everything. You're in a space that you went there to be comfortable, and prolonged exposure is uncomfortable.
And it
so
makes
you're
you
trying to get out
irritable,
of it.
and there's going to be fun, weird arguments and stuff like that. Yeah, I could see that. I can see that.
But that was my immediate thought. And then I thought, wow, I can't think of a television show that's done this. Somebody should get your character stuck in a sauna.
Yeah, especially if they're like large hot men who are in a towel the entire episode.
Yes. Bring back The Sopranos.
Yeah, just for that one bit.
Just that.
Yep.
Just that one bit.
The missing episode. Well, Matt at Matt BR, you would have heard him on our What We Do in the Shadows episode.
Yeah.
What gimmicks in other media / products are your favorites? For example, toys that lit up or did something cool, choose your own adventure books. That time Shania Twain did pop, country, and Bollywood versions of the same album, etc.
This is such a fascinating question. I love this.
Yeah. This is going to be one that I'm probably going to think of a million things after we finish recording. Like, because I've never really been thinking about stuff in the world as like a gimmick like that, but I'm sure I'll walk around and be like, that was a gimmick.
Yeah.
I like the Flip Head Power Rangers toys.
Fun,
because nothing else really did that. They're popular ones that they've completely redone and re-released and remade versions of, but it's literally just like it was the way to get the heads of these civilian Power Rangers and the helmets, and you would just like flip the morpher and it would flip the head basically. And I'd never seen another toy that did anything like that. And it was sort of like acknowledging the fact that these were like heroes that had secret identities and also had like their super powered forms. And like, I don't like, the proportions have to be weird to like make that work. So they're kind of nothing else like looked like them body proportion wise either. And it was just like, I've never seen another toy do something like that. And it's like pointless in a way. Like there's no reason for it to do that, but it's just cool to like have the ability to like just flip between the civilian head and the helmet. And
I love that.
I just think that that's kind of a neat, weird, and like it was a pure gimmicky thing because like it's just an action figure other than that.
Right.
But like that always felt more appealing to me than like a toy that can like kick a different way or like shoot a little foam missile or something. Like that aspect, because it felt almost like it kind of felt like in the world of the show, where it's like, yeah, they can take their helmets off and morph in the show, and I can do that with my toy here,
Yeah. Oh, I love that, Derek.
Yeah.
I instantly thought of the comics, but the comics in like a newspaper, because and I think it was Peanuts' 50th anniversary in 2000, all of the comic strips that day did like an homage to the Peanuts. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking of that very fondly. And I was a big like newspaper comics reader at that time in my life. And that just really stuck out to me and was always very memorable. I remember, much like the Seinfeld participation in the crossover, some participation was waning and terrible, and maybe an indication of how bad the creators were. The Dilbert strip that day had the characters participating in a drug test and getting free peanuts afterwards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was his homage to maybe one of the greatest comic strips of all time. And rest in piss, you asshole. But I remember it being really big, and I remember my favorite comic strip at the time, Foxtrot, doing a really nice homage to the Peanuts that day.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really neat. I like when comics get really self-aware and like will utilize the comic art and like crawl through panels or something like that.
I love crawling through panels.
Kind of like, you know, like She-Hulk obviously does a lot of that. Deadpool's done a lot of that kind of stuff. But a lot of comics and like comedy comics, like Garfield's done things like that before. Like a lot of comedy comics do things like that.
Yeah.
And I just think that's always fun when you're like playing with the medium in a way that you can only do in comic form.
Agreed.
You know?
Or even just thinking about how Waterston would animate Calvin and Hobbes beyond the panel.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
For some of like the most spectacular art in the world that has ever been like printed in a newspaper.
I think that's, I mean, on a like related to that, I do think that like comics utilizing how different artists like have completely different styles, but instead of it just being like, well, your issue just looks different because a different artist drew it, actually utilizing that in the story. So it's like, oh, this art has shifted radically because something in the story has shifted radically. Yeah. Or even something as simple as like the Buffy comics, which I'm generally not a fan of, but they did do one issue one time that was meant to be like a dream, a whole dream taking place during season 1. And it was done in the style of the canceled animated Buffy show that was like pitched, that had like, you know, just like test footage done, and it was drawn with those character designs from that animated show. So it's like a deep cut for like that, you know, you have to be a fan of Buffy to like have known that, because to have known that there was almost an animated show that never got off the ground. It's all done in that style, but like done that to then be like, this is what we looked like in season 1 when things were simpler, you know, like, so it's like utilizing a completely different art style to purposely look different. Like I love when that kind of is done.
Yeah. I also kind of bumped off that season 8 comic, but I did pick up sort of the reimagining Buffy comic where they
the Boom Studios ones.
Okay, yeah.
I never read any of those, but I was also just kind of like, can't deal with this Buffy comic nonsense anymore.
I had a surprisingly okay time just because what they were doing was like so radically different than actually what aired as Buffy. Sure. And that was kind of fun, but I didn't go on to purchase any more of them. So
yeah. And Matt mentioned it, but Choose Your Own Adventure stuff is great. The Choose Your Own Adventure things. So yes, that too. Yeah.
I think we were both huge Choose Your Own Adventure heads. Yeah, I think
for sure.
What an incredible thing.
Yeah.
I still remember, and anytime I have to look up something for like research and I have to go to an index, I feel like I sing the exact same like rhythm of like a page number as I'm thumbing to the page that I did when I was a child. Going to page 86 or whatever. 86.
Sure. Oh, that's great.
Well, along these same lines, Kevin, who joined us very recently to talk about Pee Wee Herman, at Kevin Shindig, writes and asks us, what are your favorite comic book stories?
I mean, I think my favorite comic book ever actually is, it's not like he might be asking for like stories within long running comic books or something maybe, but like its own comic book, Exit Stage Left, the Snagglepuss Chronicles, fucking incredible book, like so fucking good. It's so incredible. A really great, like, just look at like a really great look at like what it was like to be queer in like the 50s and like during the Red Scare and things like that. And just has a really good take on like McCarthyism and like what it was like to be in Hollywood at the time too. It's like a really incredibly well done book. And just with like really well done characters, and like uses like Hanna-Barbera characters in such fascinating ways in that. It's just really, really good. And it's one of those things where like you bring it out to people and they're sort of like, what the fuck is this? It's so weird. And it's just like, it's an incredibly well-written book. Like, sorry, man. I'm sorry that it looks weird to you, but it's, if you ask anyone who's ever read it, they'll be like, yes, that's one of the greatest comics I've ever read. It's very good.
Derek, I'm bookmarking. This looks incredible.
Yeah, it's a very, very good book.
Also, the cover of episode 1 slaps. This is like gorgeous and queer right from the very beginning. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wow. It's great. It's very good. It's a really incredible book. I guess like stories in terms of like story arcs or whatever from long running stuff. I I don't know, I guess like Kraven's Last Hunt always comes to mind for me. I really like Kraven's Last Hunt from Spider-Man a lot. I mean, you know, and this is not like news, but like Watchmen's really, really good. And I still think that holds up very well. I'm not going to contrarian about that. That's still one of my favorite comics. And I think it's still a one that I enjoy revisiting and discovering new things into. So,
yeah. I'd really love to break into more comic book stories. It always felt, for some reason, like a hard thing to get started doing. I did read a little bit of one of the newer X-Men stories when they all went to Krakoa. That was fun. I had a good enough time with that. But for some reason, the medium is just, it's like, I want to hold it in my hands. And now the ability to get that in my hands is so difficult. And so I think it is a medium of e-reading that doesn't work for me. Sure. Like, it's just, I want to hold a graphic novel in my hands, and that's just not my life anymore.
Is it hard to order them where you are?
Yeah, I have to import them, which is fine. I can import things. I just have to pay, taxes on it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Maybe, when I'm going to the States, maybe what I need to do is spend the next couple months really thinking about, like, what are the must-gets, and, like, leave some empty suitcase space and, like, grab some comics. Because if I bring them, I can be a little fast and loose with declaration. But even if I have like a friend buy them and send them to me, like, the post service wants their tax money. So like, and it's great. And I love taxes, and taxes pay for social services, but it's a little hard for me to like take a swing on something and like fork over 50 euros for a comic that like, will it vibe with me or not?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, you gotta find the right ones. And I do think that, I guess from where you're at, it's better to like find things that aren't like long running superhero things and just finding standalone books and stuff like that probably too. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. There's other stuff like I really like. I mean, I like Ultimate Spider-Man, the original comics a lot in general, but I think especially like the early stuff, like the first like 100 or so issues was a pretty good like story arc that was building on itself and world that was building and characters developed. It goes off the rails, I think, a little bit after that period, after a while. But especially the first 100, I think they were really building up something that just felt like watching a good Spider-Man TV show in a way, with how well it was paced out and everything. And honestly, the Boom Studios, like Power Rangers stuff for a while was really, really good. Like, I mean, I say for a while, it's just because I haven't caught up with all the stuff that happened for a while, but like their Shattered Grid thing was their famous event, and it is like genuinely a really, like, I'm not into comics crossover type stuff usually, but it was a genuinely really well done thing that's like was one of the first like really good Power Rangers things in a while at the time it came out. So there's plenty of other stuff, but like those are the ones that stick out to me the most. And there's some things that like I was really, really into Y the Last Man for a long time, but I have not revisited that in a long time. And so I'm not sure how much that one would hold up for me if I watched it now or read it now. But I don't know, but there's stuff like that I kind of want to reread and see how I acclimate or how I feel about it now. But yeah. Well, Joshua Moore asked, what would you spend tomorrow doing if you didn't have to worry about anything physically, financially, etc.? Like if you just didn't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's more travel, and I feel blessed that I get to travel so much, and because I'm in Europe, so much is accessible to me so cheap. So it cost me $50 to get a comic book, or for $50 I can fly anywhere in the EU as long as I don't need luggage.
Yeah.
And
it would be a travel thing for me too, actually.
Yeah. And I honestly, if finances were no issue, there's some farther off destinations that I would love to get to before I feel like I'm not able to. Like, I always wanted to see more of South America, and I've gotten to, which is great. But really just the eastern part. If I could go a little bit more central, northern, western, like I would love to do fucking Machu Picchu, but like the clock is ticking on that. Like that is a young man's game. That is not something that I can go to in my 50s with an inability to walk up the mountain. Like that's ticking by. And there's parts of Japan that I would love to see that I think require a little bit more physical capacity. Same with like Singapore, but like you got to make choices at some point in time. The question almost becomes like, what do I want to do first?
Yeah, no, that's the same way for me because it would definitely be a travel thing, but the question of where, I mean, like, not to be like boring, but like I would definitely going back to Japan and going to the areas that are a little bit harder to get to, would be part of it. Doing the Godzilla zip line, but like that's a thing that I'll probably do at some point. That I'll definitely do at some point in my life anyway. So maybe more something like because of the physically thing, like being able to not worry about anything physically, like if that means that I'm just like superhuman and can go anywhere, then maybe something where there is a little more nature, where more walking would be involved is probably better for this scenario. I still have always wanted to go to New Zealand. That's very high on my list to do.
Ooh, yeah.
And obviously there's some areas of New Zealand that are more naturey than other areas, like going into like the bush and stuff like that. And that would be something that I could do if I didn't have to actually worry about like, would I survive this? Like,
exactly. Yeah.
Then like, that's something that I would actually be really interested in doing. Yeah. So I think it would be Japan or New Zealand. I think would be the top for me for sure.
Yeah. I also, there's always been a part of me that's been intrigued by higher risk activities, but I think the fear of injury holds me back. So if we are truly like, you'll be okay if the bungee cord snaps, then I would try bungee jumping if I had like supernatural assurance that I would be okay.
Yeah, I would do like skydiving. I've always wanted to go skydiving, and it's just, I think it feels like too late to do it now for me. Because I think I'd be too anxious about it. Whereas
Agreed.
if I did it when I was like 20, I would be like, yeah, sure, whatever.
I'll
never die. But if I literally knew that it would all go fine, I probably would do that because I've always wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah. I think even more immediately though, because a lot of this travel stuff is beyond tomorrow. If I'm living like really clearly by Joshua's thing, if money was no object, I would get a tattoo tomorrow. Like that I could, I could like snap my fingers and get, because it's like so easy to arrange. Oh, I would probably get a quarter of my body tattooed if I could just.
That's true. I would do that too.
And that's,
that's a good
tattoos
answer.
Not cheap. But
yeah, I definitely would be down to get. Yeah, that it's really just been the cost is the only reason I don't have more than I do right now.
Yeah, and like taking time off work too. Like it's like I don't want to sit down to get 15 minutes of tattoo. I want you to tattoo me. That's
also what the appeal of the travel thing is too, though, because it's sort of like, okay, I literally don't have to worry about anything. Like part of the reason I don't travel more, like, is even if I have all the money in the world for it, I still have to deal with like the rest of my life and things that I need to plan around doing.
Truly.
Yeah.
Such a fun way of thinking about life, though. It's just a moment of fantasy, because
it's fun. It's a little bit sad though, because it's sort of like, well, this is a thing that I'll never be able to do with my life that I could only do in this one scenario. You know what I mean?
You know what makes me think happy thoughts about it though is that it helps me clarify my values by doing a little bit of fantasy.
That's fair.
Because then I find the space in between the fantasy and the reality.
That's true. Stuff where it's sort of like, I mean, you know what, this will be a cool thing to do, but also if I never get to, I'm not going to kick myself over, but I would kick myself if I never did this. So
exactly,
that's true. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, our last question comes from Stick, and it's, if Gimmicks was a sitcom, what gimmick would make for the best episode?
Good Lord. Well, the boring answer, I think, would be like a chamber piece, because we already just sit and talk to each other anyway. So it would just be a Gimmicks episode, but that wouldn't be any different. Like it would be it would be what it is. You know what I mean? Like,
are you not going to other locations where we record podcasts?
Right. So like, I guess Gimmicks already is like a bottle episode every week, but
it's cheap. I can tell you that.
It's pretty cheap to make. Yeah. I mean, I do think this also maybe is an annoying answer, but like, I have before, it doesn't happen often, but I have heard musical episodes of podcasts that people have done. It is, there'll be shows that like talk about media or something normally, and then they actually write and produce a musical episode of the podcast. I think one of the best ones I've ever heard is like the Buffering the Vampire Slayer podcast. When they did cover Once More Than Was Feeling, they did make a musical episode of the podcast about the musical episode of Buffy. Like wrote and produced, and granted, one of the co-hosts is literally a professional musician.
Yes.
So like a little easier for them to do it, but it was still like a real feat. And like the music that they made were like bangers for being a musical, but also they still talked about the episode somehow within that. So like just a real miracle, which is also why I'm like, I don't know that we can ever do Once More With Feeling on our podcast, because another podcast kind of did it better than we could ever do it.
Yeah. That's a great answer, Derek. Wow.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Like that's the thing where if we could pull it off and get like Literature people guesting on it and previous guests of Gimmicks guesting and having their own little mini songs and stuff like that, like it would be pretty incredible, honestly.
Equally high production was my thought on this, which is it couldn't be the other side of the coin more than yours, but I would love to do an episode of Gimmicks where we don't talk and just somehow communicate with each other what's going on. It would have to be video. Like we'd have to break format of an audio only podcast and do something different, but it would be such a stretch to do a podcast where there's no talk.
The problem is I don't know that would make for the best episode.
That's true. You know what? It would be the most fun to talk about on this podcast, us trying to do it.
Yeah,
and
that
probably
would be a fun
failing.
experiment. But with that, I do think that like some sort of genre bending thing, like if we did a noir episode of Gimmicks where we talked like we were in a noir and like the episode we're talking about is like a mystery that we're trying to solve and we're talking about it like hard boiled. And again, we could have guests and stuff that come in that are like filling the femme fatale role or something like that.
I would love that.
Like
I would love that.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to have somebody on so that they can be our femme fatale and we can accidentally mistake them for the goon. That would be incredible.
Yeah.
That's such a fun. It's a fun way to think about our. Another thing, like, not that I don't love listening to our podcast, but this would require like going back and listening. It'd be fun to do a clip show of Gimmicks. Like it would just be fun to find funny things that we've said and lace them all together with some sort of framing story.
I think that's totally doable. That is the thing that has come up with other people that I've talked to before of like finding some way to do that. The hard part is just like going back through the archive and picking out ones. But like, I mean, I feel like, you know, we made social media clips before and you can remember which episodes were some of the better ones or which ones had the weirder conversations or the wackier conversations and stuff. So like, I don't think it's as hard to do as you would think it is. I think it's probably harder to just like be able to frame it in a way to like do you know what? No, frame it. Cause it'd just be like a best of type thing. Like that's actually not that hard actually. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do that in the future. Maybe that'll be our 200th episode or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. Good enough time for me to go back and listen to everything.
Yeah.
Oh, this was so much fun, Derek.
Yeah.
It's just a nice way to check in with each other, talk about weird things that we don't often talk about, help brainstorm breaking season 7.
I've gotten some good ideas for what we'll do next. Yeah. We are going to be on break for a little while. So this is gonna be the last one in the feed, unless something wacky comes up that we do a bonus on, which may or may not happen. I don't know. But we're going to be off for a while until fall, sometime in the fall, I think.
The fall. Yeah. We'll come back for the fall.
Yeah. So, I mean, thanks everybody for listening and sticking around for 100 episodes, or if you're new to the podcast, listening to our backlog, because we've got some good stuff. We've got 100 plus episodes worth of stuff now, that I think is all pretty good. And thanks everyone for asking these really great questions. Some real thinkers and some that I'm like, I'm not confident in the answers I gave here that I'm sure I'll be thinking about and have better answers for after this episode comes out. So
in 3 years when we do this again, ask the question again, because we will have forgot what we said.
Oh, for sure. And hopefully, and then I still will not have, then I've forgotten what the better answers were and still come up empty anyway. Yeah.
Well, of course, if you want to show your support for this show, you can buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/gimmickspod, and you can follow the podcast at gimmickspod on Twitter and Instagram for extra goodies, and email us your questions, feedback, and corrections to gimmickspodcast@gmail.com. Please rate, review, and subscribe on all your podcast platforms. And until next time, friends,
keep being weird.